This week has had it all: trouble, tragedy, triumph. Trouble and tragedy because of the events that had taken place in Boston, and then of course the capture of those who committed the act that they did. Then of course the accidental explosion in West Texas. And also 20 years ago today marks the 20th anniversary of the Waco Siege that resulted in a 51-day standoff and ended in a fire that killed 80 people, including David Koresh. But in Boston, we can now consider it case closed, not only because of the capture of the only remaining suspect, and also we can also at least think about the events that led to people being afraid to leave their homes. But a lot of people in Boston can sleep easy tonight. Well, let's take a look at what happened in Boston. Two individuals that people knew. They could not believe that they could pull off anything of this sort. But unfortunately, however, they were wrong. They figured that they weren't the types to go around blowing up buildings or killing people. But it was unexplained rage, anger that had built up, and eventually it exploded. It basically led to them putting together explosive devices that not only killed several people, but injured dozens more. Hundreds of people. And apparently it's proved one thing. Both of them were cowards. And then the night before, one of them was killed. But now, no more than a few hours ago, another one was captured. How and why this event took place, we'll never know. Only time will tell. But the only thing we got to say is that it's case closed. A lot of Bostonians can be safe. They can sleep easy tonight. But more importantly, not have to fear terrorism any further. This isn't the first time we've had domestic terrorism. 18 years ago, another sad event took place. The Oklahoma City bombing that resulted in the deaths of at least thousands, if not hundreds of people in the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in downtown Oklahoma City. Timothy McVeigh, Terry Nichols, the individuals who pulled off this plot, a lot of them didn't live to see the light of day. They both not only wound up in prison, but Timothy McVeigh was executed. Terry Nichols is still serving time in prison. But we're talking about a couple of individuals in Boston who were probably star students, but then all of a sudden turned sour. We may not know the fate of the individual that they have in custody, but more than likely may turn out the same way that Timothy McVeigh had found himself in. Now, the Waco Siege that took place 20 years ago, it was no different. A lot of people believe that the Branch Davidians were murdered by their own government. More than likely, it was probably just a religious cult that had been targeted for no apparent reason, mainly because they may have had a stash of illegal weapons. But then the initial raid that took place on February 28th resulted in the death of 4 ATF agents, 2 Branch Davidians. And then, of course, we ended up with a 51-day standoff. Because of the logistics problems that had taken place, the FBI had to come in and take over. However, after 51 days, a lot of people are still wondering, how did the Branch Davidians die? How did the fire start? The fire itself started sometime during the early afternoon hours, sometime around 12 noon, or sometime before 11. A lot of people thought that the Branch Davidians had started the fire. But then again, some sort of flashbang grenade may have set off the fire. And then, of course, there was speculation of CS gas being used. After 51 days, fire broke out. Over 80 people were killed, including cult leader David Koresh. And then, of course, the explosion down in West Texas, outside of Waco. It was just basically an accident at a chemical plant. Basically a fire that broke out, which eventually led to the explosion. Not only was the town devastated, a lot of people misplaced, some injured and killed. But as far as we know, maybe a number of them were firefighters. We ask ourselves over and over, each and every day. Even my girlfriend has asked the same question over and over. What is this world coming to? What has the world come to? I don't have any answers as to why. A lot of these events that take place are either unexpected or unexplained. A lot of the things that take place in this world are out of the blue, unexpected. Well, even if we do rest easy tonight, knowing that justice has been served, well, at least part of it has. How do we know that another atrocity of this sort may not happen again? We don't know. But no matter what, a lot of us as a nation, all we can do is stick together. United we stand, divided we fall. And I think Lee Greenwood had said it best. We're proud to be Americans, or at least we know we're free. We won't forget the people who died, who gave that right to each and every one of us. We can gladly stand up next to each other. Defenders still today. Because there ain't no doubt that we all love this land, and may God bless the USA.